You are not messy. You are not lazy. This isn't a discipline problem. There is another reason your home feels crowded, even when it isn't, and nobody told you this. But somewhere in Japan, in homes half the size of yours, there is a system. A quiet one. One that makes putting things away easier than leaving them out. Today, you'll discover 15 of these ideas. Stay until number 10, because number 10 is the gap in your own home you've been walking past every single day without realizing what it's worth. But before that, number 4, the one I want you to remember. Now you have 2 reasons to stay. Let's begin. Most people think organization is about owning less, buying bins, doing a purge, starting over. The reality is different. Japanese homes are small, often tiny by American standards, and yet nothing piles up. Not because the people living in them own nothing, but because the space itself was designed to ask one question. What if putting things away was just as easy as taking them out? This is not a design trend, it's a philosophy called Shitsuka, the idea that order should require no willpower to maintain. Psychologists have a simpler word for it: friction. Every system on this list lowers it. Now let's begin. Idea 1. Fold clothes vertically. Not flat, standing up. This isn't really about clothes, it's about visibility. A stacked drawer buries everything but the top layer, and what's underneath gets forgotten, and forgotten clothes might as well not exist. Japanese folding turns each item into a small rectangle that stands on its own, like a book on a shelf. Behavioral researchers call this the out of sight, out of mind effect, where attention narrows to what's visible and memory quietly drops the rest. When everything is visible, everything gets used. A drawer that held 10 shirts now holds 15, and nothing at the bottom is forgotten, because nothing is at the bottom. Fold clothes vertically. Now everything you own is something you'll actually wear. Idea 2. Give every item one home. A drawer divider looks like a small thing, but it isn't. Without one, categories blur, and the charger ends up next to the batteries, next to the scissors you lost on Tuesday. This is about decision fatigue, the mental cost of deciding, every single time, where something belongs. One study on habit formation found that routines requiring fewer decisions were far more likely to stick over time. A divider removes the decision entirely, and the right place becomes the only place. Give every item one home. The system holds itself together, because there was never anything to figure out. Idea 3. Think tall, not wide. Most furniture spreads out, wide dressers, low cabinets. Japan turns it upright. Narrow towers, shallow drawers, nothing buried, because nothing is stacked more than one layer deep. These towers slide into gaps wide furniture can't reach, beside a fridge, next to a washer, the dead corner of a kitchen. The question changes. Not how do we add more storage, but how does every centimeter we already have work harder? Tall and slim, almost always, is the answer. Idea 4. Store frozen food standing up. Here's the one I promised you. Most freezers become a mystery over time, bags vanish under other bags, and duplicates get bought because the first one was invisible. Japan treats the freezer like a filing cabinet, with narrow bins and food stored upright, labeled, sorted by category. Nothing buried, nothing forgotten. There's a quiet second effect most people never expect: food waste drops. When you can see what you have, you use what you have, and when it disappears under other bags, it eventually just gets thrown away. A visible freezer is a less wasteful one, and that compounds, month after month, more than people realize. Idea 5. Repurpose a file holder. This one gets the biggest reaction. The plastic organizer from a desk, the one meant for folders, holds something else entirely in a Japanese kitchen. Cutting boards, baking trays, pot lids, rolls of foil. Flat items are almost impossible to stack neatly, too big for drawers, too awkward to stand alone. A file holder gives them a vertical home. Slide one out, slide it back, and nothing else moves. Zero cost, if you already own one, and an immediate difference the very first. Idea 6. Add a shelf riser. Open a cabinet of plates and there's plenty of empty air above them, but no way to use it. A shelf riser is a small platform that creates a second level inside the same cabinet. Plates stay low, bowls and mugs move onto the riser above, and one cabinet does the work of 2. No tools, no renovation. Japanese kitchens often use several of these, treating every cabinet as more than one layer of possibility. Not what's there, but what could be there. Idea 7. Install a pull-out tray. Deep cabinets have a pattern. The front stays useful, the back becomes a graveyard. Nothing was decided, it just slowly stopped being reachable. A pull-out tray brings the whole cabinet forward in one motion. So the rice cooker at the back? You don't reach for it, you pull, and it comes to you. In Japan, storage you can't reach isn't really storage. It's just a place things go to be forgotten. The tray doesn't add space, it makes the space you already paid for usable again. Idea 8. Move spices to the wall. Counters collect things because there was never a better plan. Salt, oil, a half-used bottle of something. Japanese kitchens move these up. Magnetic jars on the fridge, slim racks beside the stove. A clear counter isn't just calmer to look at, it's faster to wipe down, easier to cook on, more flexible for whatever's actually happening in that moment. And because each spice now has a fixed spot, finding it takes a glance, not a search. Walls aren't boundaries in a Japanese kitchen, they're surfaces waiting to be used. Idea 9. Use a multi-layer hanger. A closet doesn't usually run out of clothing space, it runs out of hanger space. One item, one hook, and suddenly the rail is full, even if half the clothes could fit more efficiently. A multi-layer hanger holds 5, sometimes 10 items on cascading arms below one hook. One position on the rail becomes the storage of 5, and pulling one piece means nothing else moves. The closet that felt impossibly full often had room the entire time. It just needed the space below the rail to count. Idea 10. The gap you've been walking past. Here it is. Look around your home right now. The strip beside the fridge, the gap next to the washer, the sliver beside a bathroom cabinet. These exist in almost every home, and almost nobody uses them, not because there's nothing to store there, but because conventional furniture was never built to fit. A slim rolling cart is narrow enough for a 15 to 20 centimeter gap, wheeled, so it slides out when needed and disappears when it isn't. In a kitchen, it holds oils and canned goods. In a bathroom, towels and extras. In a laundry room, everything that used to sit on top of the machine. The real discovery isn't the cart, it's this. That gap was never empty. It was waiting for the right idea. Idea 11. Match your containers. This one isn't a product, it's a principle. A shelf of mismatched bins, different colors, different materials, reads as cluttered even when it's technically organized. The eye processes each item separately, and the mess isn't in the mess, it's in the mismatch. A shelf of matching containers reads as calm, even completely full. Stores like Muji built entire product lines on this idea, consistent sizing that moves between rooms as your needs change, so the same bin holding toiletries today can hold stationery tomorrow. Matching storage isn't about perfection, it's a visual default that feels calm, and a calm home is easier to keep that way. Idea 12. Label clear containers. The simplest idea on this list, and possibly the most valuable. Rice, flour, sugar, pasta, moved out of their original bags into clear, labeled containers. Every item in the pantry becomes visible and countable at a glance. The daily return isn't small. You stop buying rice you already have, you notice low flour before you're mid-recipe, and everyone in the house can find things without asking. A pantry where the system is visible to everyone is a pantry that stays organized without one person carrying the whole weight of it. Idea 13. Treat the entryway as a decision point. Most homes let shoes pile at the door. Japan treats the Genkan, the entryway, differently, as a threshold, not a dumping ground. One pair out at a time, the rest stored upright, out of sight, in a shallow cabinet built for exactly that purpose. Environmental psychologists have a term for spaces like this, a transition zone, the point where the brain shifts from outside mode to home mode. A cluttered transition zone keeps that shift incomplete, and the mind never fully arrives, but a clear one closes the loop the moment you walk in. Treat the entryway as a decision point, not storage, a reset. Idea 14. Wrap instead of box. Before there were bins, there was cloth. Furoshiki, a simple square of fabric, has been used for centuries to carry, store, and protect almost anything. A box has one shape, cloth has none. It folds around what it holds, then folds flat when it doesn't. This isn't nostalgia, it's flexibility a rigid container can't offer. One wrapped object takes exactly the space it needs, no more, because there's no wasted air inside a box built for something bigger. Modern Japanese homes still use this logic, not always cloth, sometimes soft pouches, flexible dividers, anything that shrinks to fit its contents. Storage doesn't have to hold its shape, sometimes it should hold yours. Idea 15. End the day at 0. The last idea isn't a product at all. It's a ritual, Taishi Ichi, returning every object to its fixed place before the day ends. Not a deep clean, a reset, 2 minutes, maybe 3. Sleep researchers have long linked visual clutter in a bedroom to a longer time falling asleep, since the brain treats an unfinished room as an unfinished task. Ending the day at 0 closes that loop, so tomorrow doesn't start with yesterday's mess waiting for you, it starts clear. End the day at 0. It's the smallest habit on this list, and maybe the one holding all the others together. Here's what connects all 15. None of them ask you to own less.